Good morning. Obviously we're the first to arrive, so if you want to just hang out while everyone else joins.
Good morning. I'm just trying to finish up the spreadsheet for yesterday.
Oh,
For some, yeah, for some
yeah,
of
yeah. I just wanted to let you know that I am here and it's not just a random person. So
the.
so hi
Sure.
Finn, good morning. If you need anything, let me know in the meantime.
Hello, Michelle. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I guess it would be good noon where you both are, but
It's not morning where I am. It's like afternoon.
yeah, I figured it's 7 a.m. and I haven't quite had my coffee yet. So to me, everything is morning right now.
Oh, true. It's 11 a.m. where I am.
Oh, okay, so technically
It's
I
almost
was
one
right.
here. It's
Yeah.
12:54.
Oh, so I was right for one of you. Yeah, I am a person who needs coffee to function, so I will be drinking that while we're talking.
Hi, Mitchell. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Mitchell, how are you?
I'm doing well, Aziz. How are you?
I am good. Did you sleep well?
I did. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Also, what time is it? We're in Pakistan right now.
So it's 4 p.m. almost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a day here.
You had a whole day, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, there, like if it is 9 EST there, we have 6 p.m. here.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're almost probably 11 hours or something behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a full day. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good day. It's getting evening and then we'll have sleep time.
Always something I look forward to.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, let's wait for others.
It looks like Aziz dropped off. It could be a network issue, so everybody just hang out while others join.
All right, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. People will be joining us, but till they join us, let's have a little chit chat. Yeah, how was your last day? Anything that came up to your mind after going, after taking the day 2? So what did you feel? Do you have any question? Do you have anything on your mind that you would like to share with us? Yeah, Anna, Lucian, Sena, Afia, anything? Anyone, anything on your mind? We have so much silence in the room today, huh? Why is that? Yeah. Yeah, Sena, you can go ahead if you're able to speak. We have Anna.
Oh, hi,
Hi.
Aziz. So I was okay. I have more like a
Mm-hmm.
question.
Right.
So I was just thinking, like I asked
Mm-hmm.
yesterday, that what if an entrepreneur wants to create an organization that's more like an umbrella for addressing multiple issues, particularly with um, something like that, maybe trying to address issues that have different fields, like maybe you're addressing one issue in health, one issue in education, and then maybe affordable clean energy. How do you advise that a person goes about that? And in case of pitching your lean canvas or your business model, are you going to have to like pitch the umbrella organization, or are you going to be are you going to have to be specific with the particular um venture that you want funding for? So maybe like you just want money to do something in the health aspect, or you just want money to do something in clean energy, or do you just pitch such that you can get funds and divide across everything you're doing?
Yeah. So there are multiple answers to this question. So the answer is yes. You can build such a startup which can work in different sectors, but there are two perspectives to it. Number one, if you're building a product that is applicable to all the sectors, you can work across the sector. Just giving you an example. For example, if you design a software to help company keep a efficient record system or trackable record system, so that could work in health sector, that could work in government sector, that could work in corporate sector. So you can work with different sector to resolve their problems. Then the next one could be the health sector. For example, in health sector, if you launch an enterprise, a company, so there could be multiple perspective to it. So you might be working in the health sector, but you might be addressing multiple issues. For example, you might be training the paramedical staff or the doctors in order to counsel a patient well. Then the second thing, you might be helping a patient to have, have consultation session or arrange consultation session in an effective and efficient manner. So that could be another thing that you can work on. So again, it depends on your business model and business idea, that what do you want to solve. So the success is that you take a start from one or two ideas, you built on it, you built your foundation, you bring your credibility in the market, and once you are stable, then slowly, gradually you move to the other segments or to the other industries as well. Giving you an example, so what we were doing in the very beginning, back in 2010, 2013, we were more working in education sector. Till 2016, we had great interaction with the education sector. Then we shifted a little bit to the youth sector. So we started working there. Then for the next 2 years, we were working in the education and in the youth sector. Then in 2019 and 2021, then we shifted to the government and to the non-for-profit sector. So we started working with them. Then in 2022 and then 2021, we worked with consultancy firms, with other organization as a joint venture or as a partner. We took up the project and we divided the role, and we made it a part of the business model. Now in the next 1 or 2 years, so we are making ourselves ready to compete for a bigger projects on a government level, maybe in partnership, maybe alone. So that's how you give time to yourself. So you make your product stand out in the market, so that is still there. So based upon that, you build your another product, you make it successful, then you build the other product. So constantly, like last day, we discussed this, that you need to bring changes into your business model over the passage of time. So this is how it will happen. And a lot of startup make this mistake, that at the very beginning they want to address every issue. You don't have the resources, you don't have the time, you don't have the capacity to do so many things at a time. So that's why they fail. That's why their motivation level, their passion, so it drains. So all you need to do is just pick one thing, sustain it, grow it. So once you feel like now you can jump into the next part, jump. So this will be helping you sustain, and the other will be your scalability part. So this is how you can carry on. I don't know your exact idea, what the idea is, but this is how we can carry on. And I'll be sharing my business model with all of you, so that you can develop your business model as well. Let me share my screen. All right, so you will be getting all these documents tomorrow. Now, can you guys see this? Can you guys see my screen? If yes, please tell me in the chat box. All right, awesome. So for your understanding, like we discussed last day, that what a business model canvas is and how you can develop it. So what I did, we already have developed our own business model. We have a complicated business model, but for the purpose of training, so we have developed this business model, so that you have an idea, and following this business model, you are able to develop business model for your own venture. So I'll be sharing this with all of you. So here you can see, so here, like in the business model, our key partners are educational institution, as I explained, We started with educational institutions, we added development sector, then we started working with corporate sector and youth organization. Now we're working with startups, micro, small, medium enterprises. So we over the 10 years, we scale up to different sectors, but we took start from one sector, which was education sector. And then there are key activities. First, we were only doing trainings and educational activities. Then we went to the management consulting. We are doing end-to-end project management. We are doing enterprise development activities. Training and skill development is key expertise. We do mentoring and coaching. So you can put what is your core activities. But again, in the start, keep those activities which you feel like you can, you can deliver it and which are feasible, desirable. Then the resources part. So we have 7 full-time employees, 12 contractual employees. We have all the office facilities, and our financial resources have, like, we are a sustainable model. We run, we never stop. So we have been running for the past 10 years. So this is a kind of a business model. And just to tell you a little bit more about this costing structure, for example, your HR cost, we give bonuses, legal compliance, rent, utilities, travel and logistic, trainer and consultation fee, their travel, their accommodation, event management expenses, coordination, communication, promotion, and digital marketing. So these are our major costs. Then our revenue stream, we provide consulting services, we provide project implementation and management services, we conduct multiple training workshops for clients and organization, we design trainings and we deliver it, we provide mentorship, coaching, and different professional certification, and we also apply for different sponsorship in our programs, for grants and for funds. So this is our revenue model. Our 70% revenue comes from project implementation and management and training, design, and delivery services. Then 20% from consulting, and then 10% from the rest of the revenue stream. So this is how we have, divided our revenue stream. Now, this is a sample business model for all of you. Once you have access to it, I would really like all of you that after completion of this training, you go keep this in your mind and then sit with your team members and develop your own business model. Now, if you have any question, you can let me know. Anything on your mind? Does this make any sense? Did you get the idea? Yep.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
I hope you're okay. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to ask, like, did you start by paying yourselves, or do you pay yourselves, or how long did it take for you as a team to start paying yourselves?
Wow, this is a very interesting question. So it does. I don't have a straightforward answer to this. It depends. Like from the very beginning, we were investing. We were getting very less money for the trainings in the start. Like when we came somewhere, in order to be in the market, we go and did so many trainings for free. So people came to know us. Then we started with a very less fee. Then we launched this organization. We had our own office. We did our investments. So small projects, we were getting small projects and small assignments. Then this whole process took almost 6 years. Then in the next 3 years, like since we were there in the market, so people knew that we are here, so they started approaching us. Now, like, we are running big projects, so like our turnover is in millions. So but this took almost 10 years. Remember this thing, for organization, 3 and 4 years are very it's not that much big time. Your organization sustainability might take 5 years. So any organization that's sustained for 3 to 5 years, that will sustain forever. So in the first 2-3 years, it's very hard to sustain an organization. So now we have multiple revenue streams. For example, I, as a CEO, as a trainer, as a founder of the co-founder of the organization, so I do the business development as well. I am a part of the operations as well. I get salary from different projects. Then I work with different clients, so I charge them for my sessions, so I earn from that as well. Then we have our own policy in place that if we earn outside, how the division will take place between the organization and between the founders. So we do have the entire policies, and it's like we do projects, and then we also have our own clients in the individual capacity, and they give us the assignment. So over the years, like somewhere we started with a very less, then we were fine, but it took us almost 7 years, after which we started proper salaries for the co-founders. I mean, we do had salaries for the employees from the very beginning, but we hadn't had introduced salary system for us. We introduced this back in 2020. So in 2020, we started salary system for our partners. I hope this is the answer to your question.
Yes,
All right.
yeah, it gives, I understand. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. But in this entire journey, it is very important that you keep alternative option as well. For example, organization was not able to pay us the salaries, right, as a co-founders. So what we did in our own capacity, we tried grab different assignment in personal capacities. So through that, we were able to generate money, and we had good linkages with the government. We went there, pitched different proposals, we got the grant. So this is how we sustain ourselves, and now we are growing. Any other question? Yeah, any other question, or if you have been through this situation, so you can share your story as well. All right. If not, let me share. So these are, okay, can you share a template of a contract or policy between co-founder? So Lucian, I think it to share, but I can guide you like what should be included, and I can tell you what we have in our policy contracts. Like we have what would be the policy if both partners are working together. So what would be the terms and conditions, the salaries, the roles, the responsibilities, the financial system, taking approvals, giving approvals, follow-ups, documentation, record keeping, then shares. If the founders are using car for the business purposes for the organization, what will be the fuel expenses, how much fuel expenses will the business bear, how much will be the maintenance cost that the organization will bear. Then we have, if one partner is working and the other partners, for example, my partner is these days working as a consultant with a different organization. So then we have another policy where one partner is working outside, but we have a certain rules, regulations, policies that we are bound to it. Then if we do have a policy where if both partners are not a part of the organization full-time, what would be these scenarios. So we have built different scenarios for future perspective. Then we also have built, if just in case in the future anything happens and partner wants to separate, so we do have that policy as well. We have different options, 3 options we have developed in mutual consensus. So this all happen on mutual consensus. So we keep a discussion, we had detailed discussion on everything. If we have any reservation, so we have everything. And even like we have in our policy, if an accident happens during your office office hours. If you're using a car, what would be the scenario? God forbid if any of the partner expires or gets dead, what would be where the shares, who will get the share of the organization. So we have built that entire scenarios, and we have it, and any changes come every 4 months. We had discussion on things and we make changes accordingly. So these are some of the things that you can include in your contracts as well. Ishan, you had a hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So one question I had to ask was, what if, like, the budget you had planned for your venture or even for a particular task, it somehow gets higher, right? It gets like twice as much. So what do you do in those cases? Like, do you try to adapt to the new budget or do something else? So what?
So, I mean, this is tricky. You need, but again, anything you do, the first thing you need to keep in mind is your budget. For example, we have multiple projects going on, but two of my projects, we are done with that. So forecasting my next 6 months salaries, then we had full-time staff and we have contractual staff. So the contractual staff are project-based staff. So like we sign a contract for some certain months. So we had our own calculation. So we just play in our budget. So the budget we have, like we have detailed Excel sheets where we have what is the cash inflow. Tomorrow we'll be discussing this in detail with Hassan, cash inflow and cash outflow, right? But I'll just guide you how we do it. So we know what is coming, what is the cash inflow, and then we have forecasted thing that this much it will cost. So then we cross compare that, hey, how much will be the profit? Like I know my profit from the last 6 months and in the coming 3 months. So I have calculated the entire things and we do expenses accordingly. So if you are in early stage, if let's suppose you have $200,000 budget, then whatever you do, you should keep those $200,000, $2,000 in mind and manage things accordingly. But along with that, in the very beginning, we also invested from our own pocket to the organization fund. Like you will be getting resolution grant as well. I think it's 2,500. So along with that, if you think this can sustain, grow, so why not you invest? Because the first person that should invest in your idea is yourself. Then you can ask your family members to contribute, and of course they will, and this way you would be able to manage the initial things. And in the initial, I mean, you should build your business model, which should be like, it should not stand only on grants. You should include revenue sustaining streams in it that gives you regular revenues in order to cover your operational cost. And then other things would be additional to it. Like we have our regular revenue stream. For example, we have training session going on regularly, projects, sometimes we get the project, sometimes we get it late. So sometimes for 2-3 months, we don't get any project, but our regular revenues, they are helping us sustain, manage our 2-3 full-time employees, our resources, our communication cost, our travel cost. So this is how we manage. So you need to have a sustainable, and you need to have a regular revenue stream incorporated in your business model. And this is very tricky part. You really need to do a great homework. And what we have been discussing for the past 2 days, I think these all things will help you a lot. Yeah, Ishan, if I hope this is answered your question, but if you have additional question, let me know.
Yeah, it answers it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, Diwali, you have a question. What do you do when internal partner does not do the work they're supposed to do? So this is tricky. So what I do is, what we do in fact is, we try share with each other that, hey, this is your role and this is what you need to do, and this is your task. Like we have the task clarity. And if my partner or any one of us are not doing the work, we shoot out an email to each other that, hey, I observed that you have not been active for the past few months. What's the case? Do you need any help? Do you think we can work together to sort it out so that we can scale up our impact, we can bring in more projects? So this is how we do. And sometimes we meet in a restaurant apart from our office working hours, and we share our reservations with each other. We try to listen each other. So along with that, we also try understand each other point of view. So this helps us build a very, like Danesh and I, we have been working for the past 10 years, and it's a huge, like 10 years is such a big time from where we are working together. So it all depends on how much you listen each other, how much you understand each other. And the one thing that you should keep in mind, it's not personal, it's business. So anything is there, express it, tell it in a good way that, hey man, we are friends, that's fine, but this is business. And bring your point of view. Like we had a very hard discussions, very hard discussions, but that's business. The moment we complete our discussion, we are friends, we're partners, nothing keep our heart bad. So we don't keep any personal grudges, it's all business. So if you and your partner has that maturity, so then that would be a long-term partnership. Yeah, Ambrose, go ahead. Yeah, Ambrose, go ahead.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good afternoon from Uganda here.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My question is kinda, okay, I think it's a frequently asked question from my colleagues who are dealing in tech, like probably having the hub, developing hub, what. So there's always this question, like how will you make money using the hub? So I think that is the most confusing question, and the people who are always dealing in hubs, they really don't know how they can answer that question, and also how they can really have a clear way of revenue. Maybe you can probably.
Yeah, I mean, this is very complicated question. Again, it depends on your business model. What is your business model? And each one of you, like your venture is different, your idea is different. It depends on that. For example, if you are running, for example, a business, a farming related business, so there could be multiple revenue stream to it. So you might have your own fields on which you can grow different different stuff, right? And then you might have farmers in your area, you can utilize their land, and using their land you can earn some of the money. And then there are government projects which help farmers, are which outsource different organization to help farmer advance their farming skills, and also be more productive. So you can help out execute those projects. So these are the different revenue streams that you have. So again, this is just an example. It depends what specific idea in your mind, or if you tell me about your venture, I can tell you what could be the potential business revenue stream.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. My question was really inclined to people dealing with maybe hubs, like I can say maybe someone is having an app which can connect students to find hostels. Yeah, like the question is always how will you make money? Like it's always a hard question to answer. I don't know.
It is hard, and the reason is people wants to earn money, but people don't do the work for which through which you can earn money. And I always remember, let me tell you, let me share 5 things with you. And this is what in every training I conclude with these 5 things. I never I never have been an employee. From the very beginning, from the college time, I am doing this work, the work I do. So hi Heather, thank you for joining. I'll hand it over to you in a while. So let me tell you that why people fail and why they don't grow. There is a reason. They don't show patience. Remember, the first thing for earning money is that you need to equip yourself for skills. Look, never run, like this is my personal philosophy. Never run behind money, run behind quality and impact. So if you are a person who is highly skilled and who is getting skilled, so and who is creating an impact, so the time will come where people will be reaching you, where organization will be reaching you, and they will be engaging you. Even you will not be submitting proposals to the organization will be reaching out to you that, hey, we want to do this project. Since you have expertise, why don't you join us, and why don't you do it for us? Hey, we want to do this activity, this intervention. You have this expertise, why don't you join us? So whatever you mention them, they will pay you. But you need to wait. So that's why the first thing is I tell people, especially startups, is you really need to have a goal, that what do you want to achieve. Don't get impressed from a lot of people. So a lot of people will be doing so many things. Maybe that's not your skill set. Know your skill set, know what you're good at, trust your abilities, believe in yourself, do the hard work. Like I worked so hard in my initial days. I still work 16 hours a day. From Monday to Friday, I work 16 hours a day. Why? The more I work hard, the more I create an impact, and I do hard work because I want to grow on national and international level. So every day, every other day, you need to put more efforts. And then I showed patience over the years, over the 10 years. I still remember till 2019, I hadn't had that much financial backup from the organization and the business. But in 2020 and after 2020, so we went so well. Like financially, the organization has grown. Personally, we have grown. Now we have client in our personal capacity and in business capacity. We earn from business as well. We earn profit as well. And in personal capacity, we also charge our clients. So over the years, we stayed we stood patient, we show patience, and then we were consistent. Like I was consistent in my journey. I never quit. I was there. I had the hardship. So many things happened to me. Even my parents gave me very tough time, but I stood. I knew. I was clear about what do I want. I'm still clear about what I want in my future or in my career. And I'm stick to it, and I'm on that track. So these are some of the things that a lot of startups I've seen in my personal life. They miss.
Aziz, I think you're frozen. But you were in the middle of a very good sentence, so hopefully you can get your connection back. All right, Aziz. Right, Ambrose, it was a good sentence. He was in the middle of a great sentence. He should be joining really soon, so I hope he can pick up where he left off. And he's back.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It happens. All right, sir. Thank you very much. And let me tell you one thing. In the past 3 years, since I have my mentor, Heather, maybe he's a blessing for me. And I always tell him that since I have your hand on my head, I have grown a lot and I have been growing. So sir, thank you all for that. I appreciate that on all levels. And thank you very much for joining. And I would really like you to introduce yourself, but just for all of you, Heather Miraj has extensive experience in entrepreneurship ecosystem, not only in Pakistan but globally. He has done amazing work here in this system. I would say I am one of the success story who helped me to grow in this sector, and whatever he share, I think this would really help you if you follow. So sir, over to you.
Thank you, Aziz. Uh, a very good afternoon in your own time zones. Uh, I was listening to what Aziz was saying. I'll try to keep this session more interactive. You can shoot all types of questions on me, and I'll be more than happy to help. So, by the time I joined in, there was something which was going on that about revenue stream. We all make mistakes. We all have our journey, and journey is relative. You cannot decide looking at anyone that what are the perks and what are the cons of it. Back in 2020, when I met Aziz, things were very different at his side. I and Aziz worked together, and today I am being onboarded by Aziz. So that is how tables turn. The only thing that we all need to know is, okay, am I audible? Aziz, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, Anna. I hope that there is clarity in. So, if you see any slightest issue in understanding, it might be because of my genuine issue that I have slightly clarity in understanding, but I would try to speak slow so I'm understood. But before I move on, I would want to take this year from you that I'm audible to you. Ishan, thank you.
Yes sir, you're audible.
Thank you, Aziz. Okay, so I would want all of you to ask any question that you have. I would try to keep the presentation very small. I believe that you all are startups, right? We all have our own journey. We are with our own mission, vision, and goals. Few of us might be very quick in achieving them. Few of us might be very slow in achieving them. The core is that we need to learn. So this is Heather Miraj. I have almost 13 years of experience in making mistakes and collaborating with people and learning to their stories. So I'm more of a storyteller. Uh, Today I would be talking about startup branding. And with this, it starts off with empathy. So any one of you know what empathy is? Ishan, Anna, Ambrose, Michelle, anyone?
I think
Anita.
it's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes or situation to try to understand what they're going through or what they feel.
Absolutely, spot on. Yes, Anna.
Hello.
Hi.
Dorothy has just explained empathy in the very way I understand it. It is trying to putting yourself in someone else's shoes and understanding their situation. I can simply call it extending grace to others.
Spot on. So empathy is understanding others' perspective. So we have come a long way in this technological evolution. We are connected globally. We are sitting in different corners of the world. And we are trying to understand each other's perspective, and that is what startups are. So the difference between traditional businesses and startups are more customer centered. Startups are more into understanding the pain points, and startups help you. They do not moral police you. They don't lecture you. They don't tell you what's right, what's wrong. They put themselves in your shoes and they start finding answers of your questions. And that is how we need to brand ourselves. So before we want anyone to have faith on us or our startup, we need to know that do we have faith on ourselves? Do we believe in what we do? Do we believe in ourselves? Do we believe in our capacity? Do we believe in our competence? Because most of the people have issues with self-belief. They have a lot of ifs and buts. They have a lot of questions. They have a lot of gauges. So the greatest gift of human beings are the power of empathy. So when you travel through airports, you would notice folks who may seem invisible. For example, have you ever paid attention to attendants who are stationed in men's room or anyone, or janitorial staff or anyone? The point is that the moment you notice the little thing, your observation is core of your branding. How you observe and how you reciprocate, how you take solutions out of it, how you brand them. How do you so a random thank you, or the moment you wake up and you have a message on WhatsApp, or the way Aziz was sharing that how I contributed in his life, these little things keeps us going. These are the things that tell us that we are in visibility, that we are known, that we believe. Next up is a same equation. We are still in here. Another example of a caregiver. She worked in a setting that cares for a person with dementia. She shared that her lady with dementia was at medical appointment. The lady doctor was with her at the appointment. That doctor carried on for quite some time and disbanded an inordinate and diagnostic observation, medical terminology, and advised to the doctor. The mother patiently for this very event physician to finish. He then asked the doctor if he had questions about his mother's situation. The mother with dementia said, I'm staying here, so now that you told my daughter this stuff, can you please tell me? That is relating. A lot of us do not tell our clients what are the issues. A lot of us believe that it is our responsibility to fix issues. But I personally believe that the more we talk to the client about the problem, the more they understand. Keeping them in an invisible space is not a right idea. The more we talk to them about their pain and we bring them in our shoes and we put ourselves in their shoes, it would help us. Third thing is very important, being open. We still matter. So there's another example of it. Have you ever been walking and encountered folks who are homeless? Have you ever crossed to the other side of the street or redirected your gaze toward eye contact and pretended they were not really there? Come on, be honest. I have, and I was not proud of myself when I did. Another time I was in downtown Indianapolis for my job and I was walking out of a restaurant after a meal. I noticed a couple quietly sitting on the sidewalk with a sign that said homeless, with no job, no food. So this time I decided to engage not a word. I asked if I could sit down and talk to them for a while. I also had a bag of leftovers and asked if they minded if I left the food. The man immediately gave the leftovers to his wife. As they began to talk, I just listened. He thanked me for the food and just for stopping. He went on to tell me how he had served in Iraq, came home and worked construction as the economy tightened. Both he and his wife had lost their jobs. their home and much of their dignity. This young man places life in harm's way for me and up for you. Thank me repeatedly for the food, for stopping and listening to the story. I thanked him repeatedly for his service. Whenever you can, try to hear, respect, and promote openness. Up show. Moving on. I'm not stupid. This is the last one of it. A number of years ago, at a school for students with special needs, I had a conversation with a 13-year-old student. He was a person with autism and Down syndrome. He asked to talk to me one day. He said, Bootman, I know I'm not all that smart because I have that syndrome thing. And guess I will have it for quite a while. But I just hate it when people talk to me like I'm stupid. I learned a lot from a very insightful young man that day. We have choices. We have choices each and every day with those we encounter within our circle of influence, our work, and our life space. They may have had different opportunities than we had. When provided the chance, consider what you can do to help others become more visible. How you can not talk to, not to others. How you can respect, not disrespect a person in need, and how to value. Whenever you can, preach confidence and hear the narrative. Hear your client's story. I am is from where we would start our session today. Two of the most powerful words, but what you put after them shapes your reality. I hope that, Samuel, it was easy for you to understand the last bit.
Yes, please.
Thank you. How many of you understood the perspective of I am? And if there are any questions? I'm sorry, but I just checked with Aziz and others. I think the voice was clear, but it might be my accent or my voice, which I'm extremely sorry for. Am I audible now?
So, I mean, I can hear you clearly. I'm not sure.
Michelle, can you hear us?
I can hear you. But it does sound like it's far away for some, I think, but I can hear you fine.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth. I would try to be more slow, more loud, if that would help. I just checked my mic, it's working.
Is it better? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Very clear.
Okay. Akuyat, is it better? Great. I've turned off the fan, so if it is noise that was bothering you guys, it won't now. So moving on. So what is your take on social media, everyone? How do you think social media is effective for us and integral for us?
So for me, I think social media is important for every entrepreneur and even individual because people now look at social media to check your credibility.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are the tools that you think are very important for social media? What are preferable social media tools? No. Abraham, I'm talking about the social media platforms. Which platforms you guys think?
Instagram,
Facebook, LinkedIn. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, Anna.
Facebook and Twitter. I usually use Facebook for writing. I identify as a writer, so it helps because there is no word limit compared to Twitter, but Twitter has a different kind of audience, so I usually use Facebook and Twitter, but I'm also on other social media platforms.
Okay. So let me segregate it for you. For businesses, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn are most important tools. Twitter is not for startups. Twitter is for personal opinions. WhatsApp is another integral tool that we have not used very efficiently, but it's a very good tool. So what is a social media? Social media is a revolution. We never knew that it would take over us like this. It's social, it's a conversation. You talk and I talk and we talk. It is not a broadcast. It's not people just keep on telling. It's communication. Customers would tell you what's wrong with you. Reviews would tell you what's wrong with you. People would tell you what's wrong with you. And that is where you need to work. Power shift. So with this social media, the power is no more with anyone but people, customers. It is the ultimate moment of truth. It started off with social discovery, consideration, experience, and shared experience. Shared experiences, peer-to-peer review. Review have become extremely important. It is more about endorsements. Word of mouth has become very important. And social customer service. Now, this social customer service is something that is extremely important to you. Any of you ever had a bad review on social media? Any one of you who faced a negative review on their social media? Michelle, how you used to manage it?
Sorry, I wanted to jump in here because I actually have had this happen. I worked at an organization that worked with youth development, and sometimes the parents wouldn't like the programming, and so we would get bad reviews. And if it was a parent that somebody knew, they would work with them to see what the issue was. If it was more of like a faceless entity, it was a little bit harder. They would try to mitigate it by showing the different programs that we offered and the ways it balanced it out. But it's something that I've faced, and I think a lot of people face on a day-to-day with their businesses as well.
Okay, so the point is, which is very important, and it's reviewed. Michelle has talked about something that is extremely important. So normally what you do when you hear a bad review, you let them do the catharsis. You let them speak first. After that, you do not have to go very strong on them. You need to go very soft on them, very subtle. You need to say that, okay, you are right, but then there's another positioning to it. You need to satisfy their egos. You need to tell them that, okay, we understand, but this is what we believe in. But nevertheless, we would try to help you out with the issues that you are facing. If you ever go as hard as a customer, you would suffer. Customer service requires a lot of patience, a lot of consistency, and a lot of persistence. This all together contribute to what we are looking at. I hope that all of you have understood the story. A yay or nay would work in chatbot. Great, thank you. You cannot decline the effectiveness of social media. However, all the other things have declined. Now, you do not need a visiting card. You do not need a physical office. You do not need a sales team. Everything can be handled digitally. So we need to accept that all other traditional modes, like would you, any of one of you would go out and give a newspaper ad you want? How many of you have bought physically a paper newspaper? Very few. How many of you have bought a video telefilm? Hardly anyone. How many of you have bought a CD to watch something? No. Netflix have replaced it. So we need to see where people are, because marketing is with the market and market is comprised of the people. This was initially in 2009 how the stuff was being sold. Now, this is how stuff is sold. People would review you and you'll be sold. Facebook would run their ads and you would be sold. This is the complete picture, how digital media has revolutionized the market spaces and how the brands have come totally on digital media, influencer marketing. So this is the end of businesses. We have new mindsets, we have new business approaches, and we have new performance measurement. That is what social media listening is. So what is a social media listening? Social media listening is how quickly you respond in your inbox, how quickly you respond to a text message, how quickly you respond to an email. That is your KPIs. Every question, every comment is a customer. It is on you how you engage them and then you gauge them. Anything about what we discussed? Any questions before we move on to digital branding? Okay, so we would move on to digital branding. How you use the digital channels to communicate. Okay, before I move on, what are the things that you would want to learn from digital branding and social media or startup branding? What are your questions? What are the problems that you face?
Okay, so for my venture, I think one challenge you face with digital branding is the type of post to post and even planning our post and also captions. Yeah.
Okay, great. I would tell you that I hope that by the time we end this session, um, you would know about it, right? This is, I've covered something like this in the session. So these are the tools that we use: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Twitter is again for personal communication, but Facebook and Instagram are very integral. So how do you make your digital footmark? Number one, you digitalize your content to visual post and videography. Visual post needs to be very attractive, very less content, very relatable content. Number two, increase engagement. Make people ask questions. Like, for example, if there is anything, tag a friend, and then people need start tagging each other. You'll tag me, I'll tag 10 friends of mine, those 10 would tag another 10, and this would be a loop on project, right? This would help you in reinforcement of your foundation. Then you need to properly manage your social media pages and handles. You need a proper listing to it. Then you need to connect your emotional intelligence of customer. Customers need to relate. They need to know that they are being understood. Then you need to give a very, very researched advice. One fits all won't work. You need to see that what is coming your way. Apples are apples and oranges are oranges. Image management. For startups, the right word is image management. What is image management? Image management is how you manage your image digitally, how you portray yourself digitally. So you need to make posts that are very attractive. How do you make that? There is this one tool which is free of cost and it helps you a lot, and that is Canva. Canva would help you in making logos and making posts. Your post should be 60 to 70% visual. Use taglines, crisp statements. Moving on, where to go about it? What is branding? Branding is your logo, your identity. Social media management. Social media management is how you manage yourself, social media. Live feed. Keep people involved in the process. Show your office. Tell them what you're doing, how's your life in your enterprise, for which client you're working. Content creation. Content is the king. You need to produce very good content. Image management. We previously talked about it. PI consultants. You need to go to events. You need to engage with startups. You need to see the networking activities. Analysis and analytics. Everything is accessible to every person. You need to look at the analysis, which types of posts are working best. Then sponsored ads. If there is anything that you want to reach out more people, it would go more in and more out. So sponsored ads are one way to go about it to reach your targeted audience. Specifically, when you are selling something, sponsors ad would help you in getting a lead and they would help you in making website purchases. Any question for this slide before we move on? Any questions for this right?
No, please, none from me.
Okay. Aziz, if there's anything I need to talk about more on this slide.
So no, I think it's great. But one thing is, I know it's an activity that requires a lot of time investment. So if you just tell them how they can make a strategy in order to do the social media management.
Okay, so number one is, how do you go about it? You go about it in a way that number one, you design the post. So one day you design 10 to 11 posts, right? Posting thrice a week or 4 times a week is more than enough. So technically you need 16 posts a month. The next part is that you schedule them, you make a calendar for them, write quick captions and go about in social media calendar. Okay, once you make a calendar, then you go out and you can schedule your posts. Let me see if I can show you something around. So now you see that once you go on the page, you would have an option in this business suite. Okay. These are the posts that are already scheduled. So these are the posts scheduled for 10 p.m. on these days. So once you make the post, you make a calendar and then you can go once a week and you can schedule your post for a week. And everything that you will post on Facebook would go on Instagram instantly. Any questions on this? Aziz, I hope it works.
Yeah, it is. It was very helpful.
And let me see if I can see a calendar. Okay. I think, let me find a calendar for you. Share. What's up? So, can you see my screen? Aziz, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear KCCL calendar?
Yes.
Okay. So now this is a calendar which we make for our clients. It has the name of the client, posting days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, post time 11 a.m. Right? And then these are the posts. Caption, hashtags. You would see that there is hardly 70% of the content is picture, 20 to 30% is content. And they have keywords, wound, wisdom, bond of strength, reading with purpose. Now, these are very empathetic sentences. Kindness, compassion. One team, one family. Okay, so step one, you make your visual posts. Step two, you make a calendar. Step three, you go onto Facebook page and you make your planner. You can pre-post schedule them in that. Whenever you post anything, it would give you an option to schedule a post. Let me tell you how we can do that. Okay, so this is a draft post, right? Here you would write, create a post, right? These are the pages that if you want to do it on Facebook, Instagram, or a group. This is a post picture. So add a photo, text, location, optimal times. You can put in the time and date and you can schedule it. I hope that it would help you now. Everything at every step is explained. If there's any question, you can ask.
I want to know if you can access this if on the phone. Because right now I've opened my ventures social media page, a Facebook page, and I'm looking for Meta Business Suite and I can't find it.
You are using a business suite. It would have a planner option on that.
I haven't seen any yet, but I'm still looking out.
Let me help you out. Schedule. I hope that this link would help you.
Okay.
So can we proceed? Okay, so these are the content segment. Brand education is you need to tell people what you offer. Fun facts or Monday motivation are something that people can relate to. Promotional activities, customer testimonials are very important. Social media boost, you can put in sponsored ad, event coverage, start posting the events. product showcase, whatever product or services that you offer, design theme, everything should be on a single theme. So once you have a template design, you can divide things in. On Monday, motivation, it can be a quote. On Tuesday, it would be something that educates about your brand. On Wednesday, it's your product. On Friday, it is about fun fact, because people want to hear good things on a weekend, right? And you can design your content in this way. What is content? Everything that you post on social media is a content. Power of words. Nike sales were at $800 million, which exceeded 9.2 billion after Just Do It campaign. You need to make people part of a campaign. You need to bring people on. So communication is a wealth. You need to be a good communicator. You need to tell a story that is incredibly important for everyone. A story that people can relate to. A story that is about us. How is content linked to branding? This is a multi-millionaire serial entrepreneur. He believes of all the copywriting is one of the most valuable. The content is the king. It makes you more valuable. Now look at the paragraph and see what is wrong. It is too much details that no one is interested in. It is too long. Be short, be crisp. And that is something you can learn from Twitter. Twitter can restrict you in a message, and you know how to make yourself very precise about it. Mango Bars. Mango Bars is a blog in Pakistan, and they produce content in a very funky way. They use GIFs, they image and be specific yet expressive. They are very short and very, candid. Get visual. 90% of all information that comes to brain is visual. A study conducted, again, most of the time people believe what they see, not what they read. So visuals are very important. Top logos. Logos are very important. Try to make it a typography logo. What are typography logos? Typography logos are just a name. Or you can use an element like McDonald's, Playboy, Shell, Starbucks. These are the logos with an element in them. Coca-Cola, IBM, Levi's, these are typography logos. So logo needs to be very minimalistic and simple. Infographics. Infographics are very important. They are more engaging. Humans of New York. How many of you know Humans of New York? It is a perfect example of photojournalism, how it all started off. Human stories that people read and can connect to. Moving on. James Charles. James Charles has 25.9 million subscribers. It's an American beauty influencer and makeup artist. In 2016, he became the first male brand ambassador for CoverGirl. He has released an eyeshadow palette and created a makeup line in collaboration with Moif Cosmetics and has received numerous awards. So whenever you challenge a stereotype, you get the audience. Yusuf Alparo is a fitness model. He is a Mexican YouTuber, businessman, blogger, and internet personality. He named his highly popular channel Yusito Comunica, and that is also the Instagram tags he uses. He makes video and take photos of his trips, 27.4 million subscribers. And that is the new monetization. Influencer and PR are the new marketing new. They are the new N. James Shaw, Yusuf El Pello, video blogs. Now look at the subscribing models, 20.9 million subscribers. Food, people love food. Zaid Ali, he's a Pakistani vlogger. He was good at sarcasm, and now he has almost 3.51 million subscribers. That is also the branding that we need. What is the point to ponder? Appeal with emotions. Branding is all about how you tell your story. I'm selling a house versus I'm selling a home. They are two different stories altogether. Talk about benefits rather than features. This is a chair, it has 4 legs, it's made up of wood, it is very good. No, the chair won't cause you back pain. Connect with the people. Active versus passive. When this link is clicked, an email will be sent to your inbox. When you click this link, you will be sent an email. What's more effective? Don'ts. Do not use so many hashtags. Okay. What is wrong with this? Any one of you, tell me what's wrong with this. Too long? Yes, enough. What else is wrong with it? Repetitions, what else? Not straight to the point. What else? So this is wrong with it. There are too many words and they are irrelevant. Use a simple language that everyone can understand. What are the common mistakes? Not knowing your audience, not knowing your goals, not writing for your audience, know what business is known for, tapping the wrong distribution channel, quality over quantity, changing content too frequently, using clickbait links. These are the mistakes most of us do. We write too long captions, we fail to address the audience and whatnot. What are the takeaways? Creativity is a core competence. Secondly, patience and consistency is the key. Know your strength, skill, and startup. Consider your own barriers to creativity. Embrace yourself and produce the content you love. Never doubt your gut. We need quantity as well as quality of ideas. Market yourself, be loud about it, and the most important thing, collaborate. And for the final 15 minutes, I am open for the questions. If I've missed anything, Aziz, you can bombard me with the questions.
So I think you covered very well everything. I think that's enough. They can absorb it. We do have other session followed by this. We'll have more on this. But yes, if you have any question, you can ask. You can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask us.
And I would highly appreciate if you ask a question. I'll be more than happy. Yes, Abraham.
All right, thank you so much for this. So when I started my project, I had a logo that I used, which was very common with other organizations. Well, except for the wording, the typo wording that I had with the image in the logo. After a few years, I've decided to do some rebranding, and now with a new logo, which is unique. But the feedback I'm getting from my audience and even team members is that the old one is okay, and we should stick with that. But I feel that for the rebranding, you would have a logo that is unique, that stands out. But then the old one, it's more common, yet people are used to it. So I don't know what advice you can give for that.
Go with your old logo.
Regardless.
The point is, being common is not a bad thing. So I'll tell you, I had a logo. It had mountains, it had sun, it had a lot of it. I changed it because it was not simple. Simple and common logos are good. Number two, people connect you after 3 years. You should not change your logo. Logo is your identity. You should go with it. And whatever your logo is, logos are like faces. We get used to of them. We eventually fall in love with them. Any other questions, Ji?
Yeah, any question regarding your own enterprise strategies, or you feel like there is a gap when it comes to the social media marketing or regarding the branding, so you can ask. Or if there is any thoughts that you learned something for the very first time, you were not aware that this thing what Heather thought is important, so you can share that as well.
Anything that you would want to say, we would love to hear from you.
Yep. A quick one again. Must your personal branding be linked to your venture branding as well?
Yes, because when venture is it is interconnected. You sell, your venture is sold. Your venture is sold, you are sold. It is product and the owner. They are interconnected.
Sorry, I guess I'm asking all the questions. This is the last one. How do you recover from a brand that has been damaged or say tarnished over a particular event or incident?
Okay, so there are 2-3 different things. Number one, if your brand is damaged and come up with a new brand. Revamping and rebranding is a very tough task. It would take a lot of your energy. apologize from the client, move out from the market, come with a new name, come with a new product. That is number one. Number two, it would take a lot of your efforts. But if it is just one experience or two experience, we all make mistakes. I have seen people doing blunders and now I see them making millions out of it. We all learn from our mistakes. But carrying a brand with a very negative image is too much of a baggage to carry. I would suggest not to.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much for this session. So I have an experience where I tried boosting my post. I did it once. And then someone told me that you don't have to do it once, you have to do it over and over again. But then I saw that doing it over and over again, it was going to be costly for me to do it many times. So I stopped. I don't know if I did the right choice or not, but it wasn't just going to be viable for me to do it over and over again.
Okay, so the point is that whoever told you was very right about it. So it is like in alcohol intake, it is like any other drugs addiction. The algorithms work in a way that you need to do continuously boosting. Initially, you get very good results, but the results are compromised because the algorithms are changed. It's a very consistent effort. Whenever anyone asks me about paid boosting, I would always say that build your organic platform and then take a lead from there. Never start off with fake likes or paid posts. No, you need to continuously, and at times, for example, us, we run $3 per day for a month. But again, we generate sales from it. We never run an ad because we want to be known or anything. No. We use our organic platforms for it. But for boosting, you need to do it over and over again, but make sure that you do it with things that are worth it. If we have got an award, it can get you business, do the boost. But if it is everyday post, do not boost it.
Okay, thank you.
Player. Any other question, Ji? Any other question, Ji? Any other questions, Aziz? Thank you, everybody. If there's any feedback, anything, I would love to have it. If there's anything I can help you with, I'm writing my email address down. I would be more than happy to help you.
It looks like Aziz might have lost connectivity, so we'll give him a couple more minutes.
Sure.
And Aziz, we just wrapped up, so I know you
All
just.
right, awesome. Yeah, we have this load shedding issue here in Pakistan. So, all right. So, yeah. So if you guys have no question, sir, thank you very much. Before
It
I,
was a pleasure, Aziz, as
yeah,
always.
and I know you have a lot to share, but I would really like you to tell them a kind of something that would really help, a kind of guideline, a concluding remarks where it can help them in their journey. So just to
Do
tell you
not
a
give
little bit
up.
about,
Do not
yeah,
give up. And I'll tell you an example. Aziz is one of the kindest hosts you would ever come across. To a guy who's a foodie like me, Aziz is a heaven. So when I was in Peshawar working with him, it's somewhere in the north, Aziz was a very kind learner. And there were many times when I and Aziz sat down with his account books, and the account books were not very progressive and were not very happy. But the gentleman never gave up. That is the key. I would advise you not to go for the money, because at times I meet people and they tell me that how many millions I make and I wish that I make. Things are very different. The grass is always greener on the other side. Consistency, persistence, and hard work. These are the three key things. I know a woman founder who's a magician, who is amazing, but at times she gets worried about her business. There are good days in the business, there are bad days in the business, and then there are incredibly rough days in the business. The business days can go down in months, but we eventually know that we make up. Every founder knows what's right and what's wrong. Never doubt your hunch. Whatever you believe in, do it. But be very cool-minded, consistent, and humble. You will make your way. No one would ever fail as long as they're trying. You would get a lot of lucrative offers. I remember when I was doing my business, I was getting way more as a consultant. The last consultancy offer that I refused was of $6,000 a month, and I hardly make even half of it, right? But the point is that it was not my cup of tea. The way you want to add value is important. I always say that your children are more close to you than your family because they're produced by you. So are the startups. But never fall in love with them. Be very considerate to let go of them. It is the case with the gentlemen we were talking about. They need to let go of the baggage. You can let go. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you are learning. There is no perfect answer for you. You need to find your answers. So that is it from my side, Aziz.
So thank you very much. And we were very pleased to have you. You always add a great value. And we will have in our upcoming session as well. We will have you there. We have another bootcamp coming on leadership. So I'll be in touch with you. But on the behalf of the Resolution Project, on the behalf of Center for Awareness, Training and Development, thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your expertise.
My patatika is on you now.
Yeah,
Thank you
anytime.
so much.
Anytime.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So thank you, everyone. And let's go and let me share another amazing tool. All right. We will have many more. So I have developed another tool that I would like you to go through and develop this. Remember this, every tool we have here, so it is designed in order to help you. Once you complete this training, you go there, you sit with your team members, and you start working and documenting everything that we are teaching you. So every document that you will have access to, please work on it, and this would really lay down the foundation where your enterprise can grow and can have a vision, right? So this is about essential components of business creation, our business, maybe venture creation. Let me give the name here, venture. So this is what you need to do, right? You need to have a business idea. So I have kept it very short and precise, right? What problem does your business or your venture addresses? The first thing you need to be clear about: business registration. Is your business registered? If it is registered, will it be a non-for-profit, non-governmental organization? It will be a for-profit, whether it will be a partnership, whether it will be a sole proprietorship. And we will have discussion on these legal registration processes tomorrow as well. But you need to be clear about that. Then with the business description, write your detailed profile. That could be your website, your profile in a hard form. So you need to do all of that. And market analysis, we discussed this. You need to do the market analysis. You need to understand the competitors and the market and your customers. Then innovative product or service. So based upon these, you need to come up with a product which is innovative, which is which fulfill needs of the people. So you need to brainstorm on this. Location of the business. If you want to start a business or a venture and you want to start a physical setup, where will be the office? What will be the position? Or where will be its sub offices? Or if you want to do it virtually, where your team member will be spread, how you will do business locally. Then branding, marketing, and sales plan, how you will reach out to your customer. Heather had a detailed discussion, and how you will sell your product or service, in what ways you will be selling your product, what are the sales plan you have for your venture. Then competitive analysis. Of course, analyze who you are, for your competitors in the market, and how you are different than them. I used a word which is called unique selling point. What is your unique selling point? Then the financial need. How much budget do you need to bear all the expenses while launching it? And we will have discussion on this financial management tomorrow. Hassan will be sharing a very detail, and he will share with us a lot of tools, Excel sheets that you can use it for your own venture. Operational plan. How you will run your business or venture or enterprise. What would be the operational plan for it? And team with entrepreneurial attitude. What roles do you have at your enterprise? Who is the CEO? Who is the manager? Who is the program coordinator? Who is the communication in charge? Who is the logistic in charge? So you can do what? You can write down everything here. So this is a very detailed document that I have developed for you, so that after this session, after the boot camp, you go out there and you can make changes, and you can develop this for your enterprise. Now, any question in this? Any question, any confusion, anything you want to share? Do you think it's important? Like I shared this. Do you think you have gone through this step by process, or do you think it is important for you to bring more effectiveness in your organization? What do you think about this? Any comment?
I think
Yes.
this template makes it easier and has made the information crisp, because there's so much information being loaded onto us at this moment. So I think this would help in planning my venture.
All right, awesome, great. Awesome. So yes, Abraham, it will be, everything will be shared. Everything you see here, we teach you, you will have access to everything. And tomorrow in the last 30 minutes, I'll be sharing and giving you access to everything. But till tomorrow, we want you to be very focused on what we teach you here, right? All right, anyone else? Any other comment, observation? Any thoughts? All right, seems nobody has anything to share. Okay, Wally, I also think that is essential because a lot of people learn their startup before figuring out what steps are important. Yes, you need to do your homework. So it's funny. I always share this in training when I have interaction with startups or people who are interested to become an entrepreneur. So I tell them it's just like an exam. Tomorrow or a week after you have an exam, and there are two scenarios. Either you do good preparation, so if you're well prepared, you have learned things well for your exam, you go and you attempt the paper well and you get the good marks. And the other scenario is you don't do good preparation, you go and attempt the paper, you don't attempt it well, you get bad marks. So it's the same here in the business. The more you are well prepared, the more you do your homework, the more you document everything before launching, the more you will be clear about what needs to be done. Just like when you're planning to go to market to do shopping, so you while sitting at home, you try do all the calculation, you try list down everything that this is what I'll be taking. First I'll be taking this, second this, third this, and then last I'll be picking this stuff, and then you will be coming home back. So within that time, you do your work effectively and timely. So this is why it is important that we work on this. All right, awesome. Yeah, we will, Anita, we will share it with you. All right. All right, so let's see what else I have for you. Yeah, so here is another tool that Heather and we developed it in for our previous program, but I'm sharing here with you. This could be a checklist for all of you. I want you to develop this checklist, right? Now, here you can see in this activity, there is a list of different platforms and tools. So what tools? Remember, every tool is not relevant to your business, and you cannot use every tool. You need resources for, managing your social media. But what is the most important tool? How it is relevant, whether it is relevant to your business or not. Do you currently use this tool or not? If yes, then write it down. If not, do you need to use it or not? This is what you need to write it here with yes or no. Write top 3 tools and platform that you think your business or your venture can utilize best for marketing. So out of these 3 tools and 3 platforms, pick 3 things that you feel like you can utilize it, and this can help you grow your business. So here is the list: word of mouth, print media, social media, Google Analytics, email marketing, SMS marketing, newspaper, TV, Facebook, LinkedIn, Messenger, Twitter, Google Ads, TikTok, magazines, WhatsApp, any other. So we have given you a list of different tools and platforms. You can pick any 3. So again, you will have access to this, but this is a kind of a roadmap, a kind of a guideline that you need to develop it for your enterprise. Now, any question in this tool? I want you to ask me questions, because this is the time where you clear your mind. If you face any problem, any challenge, here we are to help you out. Now, any question here? Any confusion, anything on your mind? Do you think this can help you in coming up with your social media marketing strategy, this tool? Yep. Anyone? Okay. Do you have anything in your mind how this could be helpful? Anyone who would like to share?
Yeah, I think that this is a great model to help with venture marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That's looking at wide spectrum of options that if put together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never thought of TikTok as
Yeah.
one of the ways you can get out there, but then it's really helpful. It has a wide range of places that one may want to look at again. So.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I mean, TikTok is used by a lot of businesses. So, and you can use it yourself for the business purposes, right? So, all right, one last thing I would like to share with all of you is the stakeholder analysis. We discussed it last day, but here is the tool. I want you to go and develop this with your team. Whose problem are you solving? Description and categorization, like, and the stakeholders involved in solving that problem. Who is benefiting from your solution? Who are those people who are benefiting from your solution? Who regulates the process are the organizations. Now this will tell you about your stakeholder. Who are those who regulates the processes, who are benefiting, who are the stakeholder who are benefiting from your solution, and who are the stakeholder who are engaged or who are affected by this problem. So these are three simple questions, but very powerful, that tells you about your stakeholder analysis, that who are your stakeholders and in what capacity you can engage them. So I want you to go and sit with your team members after this boot camp and develop these tools and these frameworks, and you will find a lot clarity when you are starting. I told you, like, it took us years. It took us 6 to 8 years to learn these things, and you are learning this in the very early stage, which is a blessing. So if you work on it, again, it is a time consuming. It takes time. It requires a lot of discussion. So if you invest your time in this, this will give you a huge return in terms of launching a great venture, sustaining it, and of course, earning a lot of, revenues through this. Now, any question here? Any question, anything on your thought? Any thoughts? Yeah, Anita, can you tell me like why it's important? I love to hear you. So I know I speak, I share things, but it makes us very excited if you talk to us. So if you talk to me, so this would help me share more with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I hope I can be heard.
Yeah, you can hear.
I
I
just
can
want to
hear you.
confirm whether I'm being heard. Is it?
Sorry.
Can you hear me? I just want to
Yeah.
confirm I have been heard.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
thank
can
you.
hear you. I can hear.
Okay, thank you. So this is important. I'm saying this is so good to me because I had not thought of all this. I had not thought of all this before we launch. Personally, we haven't launched our venture. It's still in process for us to launch. But I had not thought of all this information to document before starting our venture. And I am starting to figure out how important it's really going to be for us to work on them before launching the venture, because it gives us a clear picture of our whole venture, what we want, where we want to go, where we are doing well, where we're not doing well. Okay, it's really just important. And then also basically, I'm going to use this not only in the venture which I'm yet to launch, but also my other business that I have. I'm going to apply this because we don't have some things that I'm seeing. We're just figuring out. Yeah, thank you. I'm sure it's going to really do a positive impact in our organization. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And this would help you a lot. Thank you very much for sharing your feedback. I just want to share one more framework. There are so much thing. I know it's too much to absorb, but I want you not to miss anything that is important and critical, because business venture has so many aspects, and we want to touch down most of the aspects so that you are able to, run it, launch it, and run it effectively. So then there is another important aspect, that is the business communication. Remember, uh, having great clients and customers, giving them happy experience requires a great business communication, a very effective business communication. Now, this is another framework for you and for your team members to go and do the analysis. And some of the important skills are listening skills. Ideally, for example, I would say that ideally it should be 80%, 100. We can't achieve 100%. In actual, for example, I practice 40%. How much is the gap? 40% is the gap. Then steps to fuel the gap, to fulfill the gap. So what step I should take in order to fill this gap? So I need to fill the 40% gap. So you need to write it down, point up actions to tell yourself what action are your team members, what actions you will be taking in order to fill the gap. The same goes to the emotional intelligence. How important is emotional intelligence? Remember, as per the research, it is 80%. 80% your success depends on emotional intelligence, right? In actual, for example, I practice 50%. How much is the gap? Gap is the 30%. What I need to do emotional certification course, emotional intelligence course, right? More empathy, practice more empathy, etc. So then presentation skills, very important in a business. How much should be the ideal? How much you currently practice? What is the gap? And what steps you will be taking? Same goes for the confidence. Same goes for the speaking, same goes for the nonverbal and negotiation skills. So these are some of very powerful and very important aspect of the business communication, that through Zoom calls, through calls, through physical interactions, you engage with clients and customer, and you use these skills in order to inspire, engage, motivate, and make your customer or your client happy, or your stakeholders happy. So this is how you can improve business communication for yourself and also for your team members. And this can help you run your operations smoothly and make happy customer and happy clients. Question, confusion? Do you think it's important? Do you think we need to do this assessment? Yeah, Samuela, anyone? Yep.
I think this is very important, and because you keep on telling us you shared it from Tuesday, so I'm just hoping that we get all the documents in our. I'm writing exams at the moment. After my finals, I'm going to sit down alone to read through the units as a team, and we know what we are doing. But I know this is very important.
All right. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. Anyone else? Any other comment? Any other observations? Yep. Anyone who has any observation, any question? All right. Okay, awesome. So how do you feel like while going through all these discussions? I'm sure things are coming in your mind that, hey, I missed this thing in my venture. How can I go about this? What I can do? So have any idea or ideas popped up in your mind while going through all these learning and you came up with a strategy that, hey, this is missing and I need to do this once the training gets over? Any such experience? Yep. Dorothy, Akurat, Aisha, Joy, Elizabeth, anyone, Thora, Dina, Lucian.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. Me, what I would say that
Yeah, I
skills,
think you,
the things I've learned since I haven't implemented my project, they've given me knowledge on how best I can implement it.
all right. Awesome. Great. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead. Anyone who would like to share your thought with us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think, yeah, I've really picking a lot. Basically today I've learned a lot, and I'm really even just trying to implement it as I talk. From Miraj, who was talking about the branding, the social media presence. Yeah, I think he was hinting on something which I used. I didn't know, like scheduling post like the content you're posting and others. I've really picked a lot from that and are ready to start over even today.
All right. Awesome. Great. Anyone else before we go on break? Any last comment?
Okay, hello.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, I've learned a lot, and some of the things we have started already. We have a lot of documents on that, but we have some loopholes that we have to fill from the presentation that I've seen. So after this, I'll go and share with my team so that we can fix it. And with the marketing, we started doing it, but I realized we were doing. So like our WhatsApp platform, we have been sharing on our status every day on our product and other stuff. So I realized it was somehow annoying. Like every day you post the same, like it to be a different capture. But from what I've learned, I've realized that we can even post on fun facts and maybe feedback from our customers and other stuff, so that it won't be like it's always about the product every day. So it's one thing that I've learned from the presentation today. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you very much. I just shared with all of you the profile of Heather, so you can connect with him on his LinkedIn so that you have access to him as well whenever you need any help. But let's take a 15 minutes break. And let's start after exactly 15 minutes. Don't leave the room. Just go take a breather, get some maybe tea, maybe water, maybe snacks, and let's meet in 15 minutes. And after the break, we will have another very detailed session specifically on marketing. So that would help you a lot in how you can market your venture. So let's meet in 15 minutes. I can sense that. All right. Anyone else? Any funny thing, any interesting thing that happened during the break? If you would like to share, that would be awesome. Yeah, Anita, you can. Any interesting thing during the break? Seems like there was no interesting things that happened. All right. So we will be joined by Sarah in a while. We still have got few minutes. She joins. Till then, do you have any question? Do you want to ask me anything, or do you want to ask me the challenge you are facing in your organization so that I can help you understand before we jump into the marketing session? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I love the teaching on the social media and everything that you are saying, the document that you are giving to us that is going to be very helpful. But you know, the challenge that we have once you just study the venture, you're kind of alone. So you have a lot of work to do every day, even though you have, if you have a partner, but you know, we do not have the same skills. So it does take some time to figure out what you really want to do and how you are going to manage everything you are doing. I am kind of someone who love challenges, who love doing a lot of things, but sometimes you get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then you are saying to yourself, what should you do first? And then how would you handle this and this? But it is we really, as a resolution fellow, we really need to know how to handle volunteers and then how to train them so we could do much more work efficiently.
All right.
Because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because if the person that you have, the people that you have in your team don't understand the goals of the organization, what you are trying to do, it's even harder for them to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a big challenge when you are the founder to like try to let other people or your volunteer know what you have in mind, and then how important they are to you know to help you to accomplish the mission that you would like to.
Right. So yeah, Dina, what do you think, like what's one of your major problem, and you, if you solve that problem, it can solve many more problems in your venture. So what is that
Yeah,
one thing where you are stuck?
I already identified the problem. I mean, the problem is I need to have more volunteers, and
Okay.
then I will to explain them more what we are doing, and then I could like have a list of things that we would like to accomplish, so they would know where we will need their input, and then yeah,
All
and then
right.
assign some responsibility.
All right. And yeah, it's a problem. Volunteers management or onboarding volunteers and then managing them. It is one of the great challenge. So I mean, my suggestion to you would be to do the forecasting. How many how many volunteers do you need? So it's very important to understand how much is the need. If you need 5 people, then go and pick those 5 people. You don't need to start on a bigger level. Take a small step. In the business world, we always teach, take a small step. And then with the passage time, keep growing, keep growing. So you might start with 2 or 3 volunteers, or maybe with 1 volunteers. And once you get the support, in the next 2-3 minutes, you might onboard another volunteer. So you have to be a little bit patient and a little bit strategic in hiring or in onboarding volunteers and then managing them. But again, you need to do the forecasting. How many people do you need, and for what purpose do you need, and how you would be reaching out them. And the best way is first to engage volunteers whom you know, or who are your friends, or your friends' friends, or maybe relatives. So these are the people who can support you well.
That's true. Thank you. Good advice.
Of course. So Elizabeth has a challenge with fundraising on social media. I also have a challenge keeping my team member together because I don't pay them. Yes, it's a great challenge. Now find out the ways, even if you don't pay them, what could be the different motivational techniques where you can, inspire them to be with them. Like sometime I do have people where I don't pay them, but I still engage them as a volunteer. But what we do is we either give them experience certificates, we give them recognition. Sometimes we invite them on lunch, on our dinner, in order to appreciate them. So these are some other ways where you encourage them or motivate them. It's a non-monetary thing, and this also plays a bigger role. And with the funding, again, it depends for what purpose you are raising fund, which tools you are using, how great your connections are. So these are some of the factors that help you in doing a great fundraise. And one thing for you would be to go and study different tools, techniques about fundraising, how you can do fundraising, what is needed, what is not needed. Sometimes maybe your idea is great, but maybe you have not written that idea in a way that inspire the donor or the funder. So in that capacity, you need to understand where is the gap so that you are able to attract the funds or grants. Yeah, anything else? Any other confusion? Any other challenge? Any other major problem before we move to the next session? We have been joined by Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I am good, and good morning.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, it's a great day. We had a lot of discussion today on a lot of different tools, how they can use it, and we have a great discussion on branding and how they can be effective on social media. We have now viewer session. So for fellows, Sarah is a resolution partner and leads the Word Impact portfolio for Deloitte Global. So she will be sharing her expertise, her concepts, knowledge with us regarding marketing. And I'll hand it over to Sarah. Sarah, over to you.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Really excited to be here today. I am going to take us all through a couple of thoughts around marketing. And I just want to say that I've put in a couple of ways for us to interact during the session, but please raise your hand, speak up, put any questions you have into chat. This is all information I'm sharing, but the more you can dig into it, the more you can think through actually how it applies to you and what you're trying to do, the better. So please do ask questions, raise your hand again, and just, join me as we talk through all of this. So hopefully you can see my slides. I'm going to take you through just a quick intro about myself, and then we'll dive into the concepts of marketing. So as Aziz said, I'm Sarah Canals. I work for Deloitte Global. If you're familiar with Deloitte, we're a really large professional services organization that really spans most of the world. I sit within kind of the center of Deloitte Global, where we set kind of the reputation and the brand and protect our brand around the world. But I look after our people, so I'm part of our DTTL people team, and I lead our World Impact Center of Expertise, which means that I look after our initiatives that focus on societal impact, so volunteering. I lead the Relationship with Resolution Project. I also look after our sustainability initiative as it impacts our people. And more recently, I've just picked up our well-being and mental health portfolio as well. But interestingly, although I'm now on kind of the employee engagement and societal impact side, my background prior to that was in communications. So I worked on our global communications team for 4 years before moving over to my current role about a year and a half ago. So I have experience with public relations, with social media. I've done some marketing as well. So very, very applicable for our conversation today. And prior to that, I worked in public policy. So I focused on international trade and domestic financial policy as well. So really a varied background. So hopefully that's useful as we go through everything today. And again, I'm really excited to be here. I just became a guide to one of the new ventures with Resolution. So I'm always happy to come and chat to all of you. I'm going to open though with a question because I really want to gauge kind of where everyone is. So I just want to ask, what is marketing? What do you think marketing is, and how do you, if you're doing any marketing, like what is it that you think you're doing that falls under marketing? If you can use the annotation function or the chat, or if you want to come off of mute, if you have absolutely no idea, that works too. Just wanted to see kind of where everyone is in their awareness of what marketing is. So I'll give everyone a minute if you want to try and annotate and throw out any thoughts or ideas.
Okay, so I'm Samuela, and I think marketing is selling a product or service to people. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got selling the value of your product. Someone just typed in promoting your product or brand. Anything else?
It's promoting, like commercialization. If like you are selling a product or you are giving a services, so you want people to know what you are doing and how you could sell or how you could serve better your target.
Yep. And that really, that was a wonderful definition. Exactly. And we've got someone here saying marketing is business of promoting and selling products, including market research and advertising, giving people a reason to go for your product and service the way you present it. So all of this gets exactly to kind of the point around marketing, which is marketing is not just one thing, right? It's so many different things. So for those of you who said it's about selling your product, yes, that may be ultimately where you want to go, but it's not just what marketing is about. So on the next slide, if I can get them to move. Here's the definition that the American Marketing Association has put together. And this is one that is actually updated every 3 years, I believe they say. And so their definition is that marketing is the activity set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. But what does that actually mean? As I was saying, and as we all got to, marketing is a term for many, many different areas that could fall underneath, what the marketing umbrella is. I would say in my own terms that marketing is your set of considerations, the things that you need to think about, the actions you want to take in order to drive action, whether that action is by your customers, you want them to buy your product or service. If you're in, say, the policy space, which again, my background, you can do marketing that's going to target policymakers, those who work for international institutions. If you're running, a nonprofit that's, looking for people to engage, to either volunteer or to come into your program, be the beneficiaries, you're trying to get them to sign up. You're trying to get them interested. And it's that piece that marketing can really accomplish, which is, what is the action, the ask? What is ultimately your end goal going to be? And so to get there, you have marketing. And marketing covers, as I said, many different areas. Some people would say not all of these areas that I have on screen are actually part of marketing, but I've included them because they're such close cousins, if you will, that you need to consider all of them if you're going to do marketing and marketing successfully. So someone mentioned market research. Absolutely, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but market research is a key part of marketing. Market research is when you do your due diligence, when you look into what is in the market today. Who else is doing what you're doing? Is no one doing what you're doing? If you have competitors or if you have other organizations doing something similar, what are they doing? How successful are they? How are they getting their message across? How are they selling their product or services or getting someone to take the action that they want? Such an important part of marketing. And I think one that we often overlook because it can be slightly tedious and it's not something you're doing. It's not an action, right, that you're actually going to see results from, but you need to do the market research in order to have that foundation. You also have advertising, which again, some people would say is a different focus area, but advertising is truly a part of a big marketing strategy. Advertising typically is when you pay to have an ad, whether that's an ad in a newspaper, an ad on Facebook. You are paying something in order to have an ad that you have created show up somewhere. And advertising really can span, it can be print, it can be on a billboard, it can be on social media, it can be an ad that pops up on Google. You can pay to have, search engine optimization with, an ad that pops up at the top of Google results when someone searches for a specific topic. So again, advertising, a really key way of delivering your messaging, your marketing, and targeting individuals in order to get them to take that action that you want them to take. Communications, again, all big part of marketing. So when you think about communications, what are you trying to tell your audience? What are you trying to explain? What is your message? But then also, what channels are you using? How are you going to get your message out there? If you're not paying for an advertisement, how are you getting your message out there? Is it through social media? Is it going to be, through a media interview? Is it going to be through emails? That all falls under communications, which needs to be a really key part of your marketing plans. I mentioned social media. Social media is obviously a massive part of any communications or marketing strategy these days. It is its own separate area. I think you have to think about it if you're trying to target anyone. But it is also, again, a really important tool, a really important tactic for you to use when you're thinking about marketing. Branding, you just came off a session with branding, but such an important part is, bringing in your branding. Once you come up with what is our brand, what do we stand for? What is it we want to communicate to, our clients, our customers, whomever, you have to make sure that's part of your marketing strategy. Otherwise, marketing's just flat. You have to make sure they work together and that they go, that they do truly coexist and that they complement each other. Sales, a key part. And I think a lot of you, that's what your mind goes to when you think about marketing. It's, how do I get a sale? And certainly it's a huge part of marketing, but it's not the only thing. It tends to be an end goal, and you need a sales strategy if you are going to do sales. But it's a big part of marketing. Again, what action you're asking people to take. And then finally, promotion. So how are you going to promote? You have ads where you pay to place content. You have your communications where you're, sharing social media posts, but your promotion, how do you get others talking about your product or service? How do you get street credit, right? If somebody says, oh, this organization, they're legit and they're wonderful and we love them and they do X, Y, and Z, that's promotion. How do you get someone else to really speak up on your behalf and talk about your product, your service, your organization? So again, marketing, very complex, has a lot of different areas and a lot of stuff to think about. So I would just encourage you not to think about it as just being a tool to use to drive your sales. It can be much, much bigger. So if you were to study marketing, a lot of kind of the academic side of marketing focuses on the 4 Ps of marketing. So you have product, price, promotion, and place. And so with the 4 Ps, I'll go through each of them, but these are just good things to think about. Again, when you're thinking about this massive, what is marketing? Think about it, in these 4 areas. So your product, what is it that you are selling? What is it that you are delivering? What is it, your specific good or service that your organization is going to be putting out into the market? That's your product. And you have to really think about what makes your product unique. You've talked about branding, right? What is truly unique about your product? Price. Regardless of what it is you're doing, whether you are selling a good or service, whether you are offering, a program that's going to impact individuals in your community, you have to think about the price. What is the cost that you are going to ask someone to pay, or the time you're asking them to put in to be able to take part in or to buy your product that you are delivering? Promotion, as I was just saying, your promotion. How are you going to get other people to think about your product, to like your product or service, to talk about it? Because without that kind of third-party validation, if you will, by a customer who's happy, a customer review, or someone who's been through your program and can talk about how impactful it was, without that, you're not really going to get far, because you're only going to be talking about it yourself, and that can fall flat. And then your place, such a really important part as well, is your place. So where exactly are you going to sell your good or service? Your organization's set up in X country, but where is your good or service really going to resonate? Who is your targeted audience in that place? And how do you get to a point where you're really able to market to those individuals and be in the right place, whether that's virtual or in person? But again, these are kind of the key foundational pieces of marketing, and what, if you study marketing, this is what your professor will go to time and time again. Any questions on this one? I know this is kind of still very high level. I'm going to dive into more details, but I'll take a minute, see if anyone has any questions about this piece in particular. Okay. So then let's dive into the types of marketing. So I've included 6 types of marketing here. There are many, others. And again, some people say not all of these are going to be part of marketing. Not all of these are going to be super important. You have to decide which piece of this you think is going to be your most important part. But here are a couple different types of marketing. So from the top left, we have content marketing. So this is, again, it's a really delivering on promotion. So think about influencers, think about somebody who writes a blog piece that talks about a product or service that they paid for or that they were gifted. That's content marketing, where somebody is really talking about how your good or service has impacted them, or how much they like it, or vice versa, how much they don't like it. And so when you're thinking about content marketing, it's a key tool for you to be able to try and deliver your message, deliver your what it is you're asking of your audience, but in a way that, again, gives you that third-party validation where somebody else is doing it for you. Advertising, pay-per-click, depending on how you go about doing it. As I was saying, advertising is really when you have funds that you want to put towards a specific ad. Usually this is something that is, an ad for a new product launch, or introducing something that's new or exciting, or just, you take out an ad on social media trying to target individuals who, think might be good recipients of your product or your service. Pay-per-click is a new way to do this, right? So this connects with content marketing. And so you have a budget that you set, and you pay for, people who send individuals to you. So it's a little bit more of a structured approach to some content marketing, and it is kind of the newer way to advertise, but you still have lots of options to pay to advertise, and you get to decide if that's something that you want to do. I mentioned search engine optimization earlier, SEO. This is a really big one. If if it's just big in general for recognition. So if you think about when you go into Google or Bing or whichever search engine you use, there are thousands of responses that are going to come up. But when you have an optimized website, that means that you have the key terms that the search engine is going to use, and the key terms that whomever it is is searching for you. You're using the right terms in such a way that you are going to pop up higher on the Google results than if you just have a website that doesn't use key terms, doesn't really connect to anything. It just says, here's our logo, here's our company name. That's not really going to get you anywhere. You need those terms on your website. You need those. You can pay to have someone come and help you optimize your website, and also kind of play the Google or other search engine game to get you higher up in the responses, because someone's not going to search through 10 different result pages on Google or on another search engine. So SEO is really something that has been a big part of marketing and communications, and is something that I think will continue, even though social media is kind of the king around a lot of marketing approaches these days. So social media then comes next, and obviously we're all familiar with the various social media apps and technology. And I think a lot of times organizations, especially newer ones, will say, well, we'll just put out a post on XYZ, like on Facebook, or we're going to do a TikTok video campaign, because it's an easy win, right? A lot of times you can do it for free. You can get your message out there. You might go viral, and that is really great. But when you think about social media marketing, yes, you might go viral, but again, you need to put that thought into, what is it that we're trying to accomplish, and how are we going to do that? What is the message we want to get across? So everything that I'm going to talk about coming up here with considerations around marketing and what to take, in what to think about as you're pulling together a marketing plan. I just encourage everyone to think that like social media should be a part of a strategy, and not something that you're doing just, with the click of a button because you can. I think that way lies some danger, and also, you run the risk of just communicating for the sake of communicating and not really having anything behind it. Public relations is a really key part of marketing for many organizations. So if you think about media relations, public relations is when you proactively try to get your organization into some sort of media, usually, whether it's an article in a newspaper, a news story on TV. And a lot of times PR comes from proactively seeking relationships with the reporters, the journalists that are going to write or produce those pieces. But it can also come naturally. You could have, a really amazing turnout at an event. And so you're going to get attention because it's big, because people are talking about it on social media. So again, it's a really key part of marketing as you're pulling together your plan and thinking about how you're going to achieve your goals. And then finally, influencer marketing. This is something that's come up, very more just in the past 5-10 years or so, relating to content marketing. But influencer marketing is where you provide you try and get an influencer to talk about your good or service, to talk about your organization, to help make an impact, to grow your audience, to really reach more people, to give you that third-party cred. It again, much like any of the other ones on here, and specifically social media marketing, influencer marketing sounds wonderful, right? We're going to ship a product to this important influencer, and they're going to talk to their 2 million followers on TikTok. Wonderful, but what are you trying to accomplish with that? And are you just doing it for the sake of doing it, or is it something that's actually going to help you advance what you're trying to accomplish? Oh, I'm sorry, someone just messaged that I'm breaking up a little bit. Let me know if it gets bad and I can turn off my video. My Wi-Fi might not be the best. I'm currently traveling, but just message again if that happens. Okay, moving on. So now, and I've touched on these as I've been talking through the types of marketing and the 4 Ps of marketing, but really, where to start when you're thinking about marketing. And as I've said, and I think hopefully, it's clear as you're setting up your ventures, that you really need to have a strong foundation. Again, it's great if you can get an influencer to talk about your organization or your product or your service, but you want to make sure you're ready for that. You want to make sure that you know what it is you're asking them to do, what it is you want them to say, and also that you're ready to react if you do go viral or you do get a lot of public attention. Because the worst thing is, if you do get a lot of attention and you're not ready to move forward with it and you just let it drop, it's a wasted opportunity. So I would very much encourage you to make sure and take the time that you are laying a very strong foundation before you start communicating or posting on social media or reaching out to media sources or influencers or whomever. The first piece of this is essential, and that is know your audience. Your audience is who you're trying to reach. So understanding who your audience actually is sounds simple, but can be quite tricky. Because if you think about it, you might have, say, a service that is going to be provided in a specific area. And so you might think that, say you're providing a service related to education, that the students are the ones you should be reaching with your marketing so that they sign up for your program. Great, but is that really who your audience is? Should you be targeting the parents of the students? Because it's the parents that make the decision on which program the students might attend. They're the ones that may, take them to whatever the program events are. So again, it sounds simple knowing your audience, but it can be very difficult to actually understand what that means and how you can really drive forward, engaging with your audience. Okay, I'm getting message that I'm breaking up very badly. So let me turn off my video. Sorry about that. If anyone else can let me know if it's bad. Okay, maybe it's not me. Maybe it's just some local connections. Okay. So just let me know, keep pinging if I do keep breaking up for you, and maybe everyone else can just chime in if it's just a local connection or if it's me. But so as I was saying, knowing your audience, not as straightforward as you may think when you first start thinking about your marketing plan, your strategy and communications. But it is a really key part of making sure that your marketing is solid and that your foundation is solid. So it's knowing who your audience is and thinking through again, who is it that you're actually trying to influence or drive or engage with so that they will ultimately buy your product, sign up for your program, whatever your end goal might be. You also want to know how they receive their information. So again, going back to my example, students might get their information on social media, but their parents might get their information from email. They might get their information from a community board where you post a piece of paper with information. So again, knowing your audience, you can then also think through how they receive their information and then target them by understanding where they go for their information and how you can influence them to take the action you seek. And that's a very important piece as well, is how can they be influenced? So you might know who they are, you know how they receive their information, but understanding how they are influenced is that last piece. And so again, going back to my example, you've decided you're going to target parents and you're going to target them by posting, newsletters in person on message boards throughout your community. But what is on that piece of paper? What is your message that you are sharing with them? If they're parents, they may be concerned about helping their kids get ahead. And so you want, to capture their attention. having a message that, you know, is on social media that talks about, you know, how great the experience is going to be, might be wonderful for the students themselves. But the parents are probably going to want to see, what is it that my children are going to get out from it? What is it, you know, it's going to help them get into university, or it's going to help them secure a good job and be able to help provide, you know, for the family. What is it that is really going to trigger them to take that step, to take that action that you're seeking them to take? So that's know your audience. Does anyone have any thoughts on this? Has anyone started to go down this path and struggled with the audience piece? Because again, when you first think about it, it seems very simple, but this is such a critical piece and one that can be very tricky to really understand. So any thoughts on this? Okay, so, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I think that the audience is really an important factor in every business idea, just like you mentioned. And for one thing, I realized in the early stages of my venture is you really need the feedback from the audience, the right audience, to feed into what kind of project or venture you decide to create.
Yeah.
Else you would end up probably creating the best project in the whole world for the wrong audience, and then you would have it. So yeah, I think that's really important, and you've really touched on that.
Good. Yeah, no, I mean, thank you for sharing that, because I do think, again, and I've run into this before, right? You know what you need to do. You want to sell X number of products. And so you skip ahead and you're like, I'm going to start writing my social media posts. I'm going to go post from my handle on Facebook. But then you realize no one's responding, no one's talking, no one's engaging. And you take that step back and realize, well, who follows me on Facebook isn't actually who my audience is. So I've just wasted my time and effort communicating to a group that just doesn't care and isn't actually who I need to take the action. Joy, I see your hand raised.
Yes. So about still the audience. Okay, my question would be: is it possible to have different categories of audiences?
Yeah.
For instance, when it comes to our venture, which we are in the process of just starting, in fact, now we are just laying grounds, whereby one, we want to skill young boys. Now, two things are involved. When we look at the category of the boys, these are boys who have, yes, they've dropped out of school, but the age bracket is between 14 and 20. Yeah. Now, when you look at the Uganda, from the perspective of Ugandan law, anyone below the age of 18 is a child.
Yeah.
And that is somehow we have to, get consent from the parents. So are the parents also partly our audience? Because yes, as we are designing right now, we are designing tools for capturing details of these beneficiaries, and then also consent forms for those below the age of 18. So do the parents fit in as an audience?
Yeah.
And then also, now do we look at these who are older also as a different category of audience? And then we go ahead now, though we are skilling them for sustainability, we want to have a product out of the skill that we shall be teaching them, a product that we shall sell, a tangible product. So this side, it's more of a service, and now out of that service, we are getting a product. So I'm seeing another category of audience that we have to look at. So can it be possible to have that dimension? Do I understand it for my venture? Have I understood how the audience perspective works, the way I've explained it?
Yes. So to answer your first question, yes, you can have multiple audiences. If you have different products or services, or as you were saying, different groups who you will be seeking to engage for your venture, then yeah, you might have different audiences. And again, the key part, and it sounds like you're doing it already, is really thinking through, okay, so we have this group we're trying to reach, and we're separating it into two categories because of the age. So you have those who are over 18 and therefore adults, and you know, you might reach out to them directly. And then you have the minors who, yes, their parents are your audience. You have to make sure they're comfortable, they have what they need, they know why you're asking them to consent and all of that. So yeah, absolutely fine to have multiple audiences. I think where it then becomes more complex, although it already sounds quite complex for you, the key where it becomes complex is you've identified your audiences and they are indeed different. And then that next step is each audience is probably going to have its own marketing approach, marketing strategy. So when you're thinking about your marketing strategy kind of overall, or your plan, I think for your type of organization, it's important to have kind of your top line goal. And we'll talk about goals in a little bit, but you know, what is it we are trying to achieve overall? And then you can break it down and have goals for each different group. And you're going to have different tactics, take different approaches to reach those groups. And you might have different asks depending on who the groups are. Again, the older students, it might be a quick, ask for them, which is, hey, this is interesting, sign up, get new skills. For the parents, your ask is going to be, sign your child up, or consider, if your child brings this paper home, consider signing it so that they can get enrolled. So again, it gets, the more audiences you have, the more complex it can become. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have them. In fact, it's probably the right step. Just be prepared, take that time to lay that foundation, so that you really understand that segment and who your audience is, so that you can make sure you're planning for each audience appropriately. Any other questions? Yep, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Dorothy, I see your hand raised.
Yes, please. I really want to share our story with what you just said. When we started, we were marketing our product on our social media handles, but we realized that the people that we were targeting wasn't those who are following us. It was localized product for now, and we can't deliver to the entire place, even not the whole Ghana, not to talk of Africa. But those who are following us, some of them were outside. So if the intention was for them to just know that there's a product that exists, I think we achieved it. But we wanted them to buy our product, and we were marketing to the wrong audience. So we have to come down from Facebook and come down to WhatsApp. We realized that for WhatsApp, they are people that we communicated to frequently. So our focus shifted from Facebook to WhatsApp, because WhatsApp, we realized that they are closer a bit. We can talk to them directly, and if we want, we know where they are and we can go to them. And we realized we were targeting students. So how do we get the students? We have to go through their class rep if we want to market our products to them, rather than put out there on Facebook for maybe the entire people to look at. Meanwhile, they are just looking at it, they won't buy the product. But the people were closer to us, so we have to come down from there and use a medium to get in touch with them, and also do a math marketing, like in person. That was what worked for us initially. So it's kind of true what you are saying. So I just really wanted to confirm it. Thank you.
No, thank you. And again, this is, I think the experience that you can share with each other is so key, because some of you have done this, right? Whether it's for your current venture or previously. And so absolutely, and don't be afraid with marketing. I'm going to talk about laying the foundation, and you might get anxious that, like, well, what if we lay the wrong foundation, or what if we target the wrong audience? And it happens, right? Like it happens regularly. I work for a massive company. We'll put a large amount of money into a campaign, and sometimes it falls flat, and we thought we had done everything. We were using the right channels, we had our audience, we had our hash, like we did everything, and it just didn't resonate. So I'm going to share a little later some additional things to consider as you're building out your plan. But I will say you can pivot, like exactly as you were saying, Dorothy, right? You figured out that what you were doing wasn't actually achieving your goal. And so you were able to pivot, you're able to understand the key, is WhatsApp and how you're going to do it and working through the classrooms. And that's all part of gaining experience, right? So especially as you're starting out, sometimes you will fall flat. You will not reach the audience in a way that you thought you were going to do. And a key is learning from that and then pivoting and understanding, okay, so that didn't work, but I think this will work, and then trying it. And I will say, and we do this regularly, in the corporate space as well, is testing. So if you are going to launch something on Facebook, let's say, or you are going to put a little bit of money, you want to get an ad placed, don't throw all of your budget at one thing the first time you do it. Make sure that you're testing, you're piloting, that you're putting your foot in the water, but then you have something in your back pocket if that's not the right step to take, because again, you can do all of the upfront work and it's just you've missed something, or it wasn't the right time, or you're launching on a date that something terrible happens, another pandemic pops up, right? Like you just can't control everything. So make sure you always have something left over so that you can pivot if you need to. So what we've been talking about, knowing your audience, a lot of that then will come from research, right? So some of you may already know, oh, I know my audience because I've been in this space for a long time, or it's very clear I'm filling in a gap in the services provided and it's very specific. But I would still encourage you to do market research, and this can be as informal or formal as you want, especially given where some of you are sitting in terms of, again, knowing your market really, really well. But always make sure you're doing a bit of research, and when you're starting to lay the foundation, making sure you know who else is in your space. So who else is providing what you're talking about providing, whether it's a good or service. What is it they're providing? What makes them unique? You may not have a competitor. You may have somebody who's doing something similar, but in a different market, different location, or a different focus area, right? You might know someone who has a very similar program focusing on older students, but you're focusing on early learners, young students. What are they doing? What can you learn from them, whether you're competitors or allies, or indeed something totally different, but an organization or a group that you respect? So doing that research and looking into how are they communicating? What are they communicating? Who are they communicating to is very much worth taking the time, doing that due diligence. And then if you can, and sometimes this can be difficult if you're still identifying your audience, is trying to understand what resonates with your target audience. So on social media, can you find groups that people are in that have similar interests, or are the parents groups for the schools you might be working with? And what do they respond to? What are they talking about? What posts are they commenting on or really actively engaging with? If you're looking at, more kind of in-person marketing, what draws attention? Really doing that digging. And again, this is like knowing your audience, knowing what resonates. You think you will know, but something will potentially fall flat if you don't really wrap your arms around it and understand what motivates them, what interests them, what is going to be, we in corporate speak, we say, what is the lever you're going to pull to get someone to take the action that you want them to take? And then finally, building your strategy, or I almost said ideate, start to plan out your strategy. This is kind of the last piece, if you will, on laying your foundation before you start really building your plan, if you will. So your strategy is your overarching approach. What is it that you want to be known for? How do you want to position your enterprise, your product, your service? What is the action that you are asking someone to take? What is your audience? What resonates with your audience, and how are you going to target your audience? That all should be part of your early stage strategy to help you align what your actions are going to be, but also to help keep you honest on, is what I am planning today actually going to help move my strategy forward? Or is what I'm planning today something I currently think is going to be great, and it might be a quick win, but actually it's a quick win that takes me away. It deviates me from where I actually want to be focusing and where I actually want to go. I'll pause again in case anyone wants to ask questions. This strategy piece, don't worry, we're going to dig into like different parts of what's in your strategy. But again, I think this kind of very initial laying out the framework of what is you want to be known for, how you want to position yourself, who your audience is, what action you're going to ask them to take. That all is a very early stage marketing strategy, and really key to have, as you're starting to then action, communicate, take whatever tactics you decide to do. Any thoughts or questions at this point? Okay. So you have your strategy, you've done your research, you've figured out who your audience is. What else do you need to think about? So you're going from your marketing strategy, again, that high level, this is what we are setting out to do. And now we're moving into actually planning. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do, but how are we going to do it? What else do we need to keep in mind? So I've put additional considerations. This could also be formulating your marketing plan, right? So a couple of things you want to make sure you are thinking about before you start doing. First is your goal. What is it that you want to accomplish? And this can be an overarching, what is it you want to accomplish with your marketing? Or, and I would very much encourage this, what is it you want to accomplish with this project, with this launch, with this very specific, targeted, semi-finite period of time? And I say that because a lot of the times, and I see this in the corporate world now, a lot of the times we're moving fast, right? We're moving fast. We have our overarching strategy. We're going. And then you stop, you deliver, you take that step back and you say, wait a second. What did that get us? Why did that impact what we actually wanted to impact? Or was it a really great idea, but it wasn't quite going to get us to advance our strategy? So by setting goals ahead of time, and I would encourage you to set measurable goals, and we'll talk about metrics in a little bit, but set measurable goals that are specific enough that you can deliver upon them and you can actually measure the results of what you've done. So a good example is, if you, going back to the education example I've been using, you're targeting parents in your local community. And so you have a month before your first event. So you're going to put together a marketing plan that's going to run for 1 month. What is your goal of that marketing plan? Is your goal to have 30 parents say they're interested? Or is your goal to have 20 parents actually sign their kids up? What is the action that you want someone to take? And what is your goal with the marketing that you are going to be doing? If it's measurable, so if you can put a number next to it, which is not always doable and often very complicated to do, but if you can put a number next to it, that helps hold you accountable, but also is something that you can then look back on and assess, again, whether this marketing or communications program that we put together, our social media campaign that we launched, was it actually impactful? So that once that month-long campaign is done, you can say, okay, so we put in a month of communications, we've been marketing our upcoming event to parents, and we only have 5 students signed up at this point. Okay, that's fine, it's 5 more than nothing, but for our next event, should we change it? Should we, how do we target better? How do we message better? Oh, we should plan, for a parent information session ahead of time so they can get more info. So again, having goals that you can set and target towards, that you can have a KPI, a key performance indicator, really a piece of data that you can put next to it. Helps keep you accountable, but also helps you really refine your next step, your next, what you're going to be doing next. You also want to think about your message or your messaging. So again, the temptation maybe, let me go write a post on social media, let me get it out there, and I'm gonna just like throw it out there and see what happens. But if you want to be successful in marketing, you need to make sure that your communications approach is consistent. So, if you're writing, say, 5 social media posts in 2 weeks, do they all sound like they're coming from the same organization? Do they sound like and by sound, I mean, are they written in a way that I know that this is this organization or this leader of this organization, this fellow, because they, are talking about the same issues or in the same way. You want it to be consistent, because if you are posting, again, 5 posts in the span of 2 weeks and each one sounds different, or you're going in 5 different ways, people might stop paying attention because they can't see, like, it's not recognizable. What is this? What is this organization talking about? Why would I click on that link to go look at a product? Like, I just don't get it. So messaging is incredibly important as you're putting your plan together, and taking the time to think about what you want to communicate is essential. Your tactics are the approaches you're going to take to get your message into the market. So you've set up you've decided what your message is going to be, that you are, a new organization trying to help change the future of students in your local community. And then your tactics are, okay, you have this message, how are you going to get it out there? So we were talking before, right? It may be something that is, a piece of paper that you distribute in the supermarket because that's where parents go. It may be using WhatsApp. Just because you're on WhatsApp, and it's a couple of short lines, or if you're, posting a video on TikTok, again, you need to think through the approach. It can be very fast, it can be quick, but if you send something out that isn't thoughtful or isn't really in line with what you're actually trying to do, that can throw off all of your plans, and in fact can cause you to then have to backpedal and reconfigure. So take that time to think about, your message, what you want to communicate, and then how you're going to get that message in front of your audience. And it can be, you can use multiple tactics, right? So you have one audience, but you can have 5 different ways you're trying to reach them. You can, put something up in your local market. You can use WhatsApp. You can post on your Facebook group. You can talk to the school and have them communicate. You can send an email if they have emails. You can use multiple tactics to get to, an ultimate goal, but you need to know what those tactics are going to be, and they should be done in a thoughtful way, so that you're not, scrambling and trying to figure it out on the fly, which then can cause, issues. Budget, very essential. I know some of you, have received seed funding from Resolution as you've come into the program. Much of that budget may have already gone towards, various programs, buying, the tools you need to deliver your programs. But if you have a budget, you fundraised, or, you've made a bit of a profit and you want to put your budget towards marketing, know what you're comfortable spending and set your budget. I think one of the things we see, especially with social media, if you're going to do paid placement on social media, which you can do through your Facebook account, you can pay to have your ad appear, you can target audiences. There's a whole world of paid social media advertising, or you can pay an influencer, right, to talk about your product or your service. The temptation is, oh, it's not that much, we can keep spending. It can end up being very expensive. And a lot of the time, you can get pretty far without paying anything, right? You can have what's called organic social media posts. If your audiences and your message are strong, you'll break through some of the clutter. Sometimes you have to get in front of someone you're not getting in front of. It's a new audience and they're not going to open an email from someone they've never met or an organization they've never seen before. So you need to have that credit. You need to, have it in front of them, have that influencer or whomever talk about your product or service. And then you do, putting in an investment might be smart, but again, set out ahead of time what it is you're going to spend and make sure, you might go over budget. That happens. It's not the end of the world usually, but try and keep to that budget, because you don't want to land yourself in a position where you've promised too much and now you can't deliver because you don't actually have budget left. And yes, this is something that I have dealt with, in the corporate world, where teams say, we have X budget, we want to run tons of ads, we want to do this, this, and this. And then it comes like to the day of the event and they have nothing left and they can't they can't get over that finish line, which is unfortunate. Another thing to think about is timing. So as I mentioned before, I personally think when you're building your marketing strategy, doing it in shorter bursts is really smart, because so often marketing, it can loom, it can be so much, it's so complex that sometimes you can think, oh, well, it's just like this massive 5-year plan, and you can't actually get things moving. So I think when you think about, your timing, how long is this marketing or communications campaign, going to last for? And also in terms of timing, think about when you are going to take an action or when you are going to launch your strategy. I can't tell you how many times I've been working on something only to realize that the date we wanted to launch it because it was a good date for us is not a good date for the external market, right? So if you're you're working, I used to support some of our teams that did work around UN General Assembly Week. It's an incredibly cluttered space. Everyone's hashtagging UNGA, everyone's in New York. You're not going to break through a message when it's that busy, right? Like, it's not the time to launch something new, unless you are paying and get influencers to talk about it. But for an organization that's just starting out, it's great to link it. But maybe you should launch it a week before when it's quiet, but people are starting to pay attention, right? So think about timing, think about what's happening around you. Sometimes when it comes to communications, you have to stop because something has come up, right? Something, a natural disaster or, a political scandal's come up. And now's not the best time for me to put out my new product because no one's going to be paying attention. So always think about the timing and think about what's the right timing. Do a little bit of research. If the new iPhone's coming out, next week, probably don't plan your iPhone competitor launch that same week, right? Maybe give it a couple of weeks. Sometimes you can be, you can play up that competitor's angle. And so you want to be a little bit more, on top of the same, competitor's timeline to try and take away their influence or their focus. But I would say in general, like, try to time it very specifically so that, you're in a good space. It's a decent time, both for you as an organization as well as externally. And then the last thing I put down there on the bottom is be careful of scope creep. And what scope creep is a very corporate America term. That means you set a plan, you set your strategy, and slowly things that weren't part of that strategy, that weren't a priority for you in the beginning, they slowly creep in, and suddenly you're dealing with 30 things that someone thinks is important. And so you're trying to juggle that, and you may get distracted again from your goal, from what you're actually trying to achieve, and instead just delivering because it's the hot, unique new thing, or because someone tells you it's important. So always be careful of that scope creep, and be careful if you're in a space where others are trying to influence what you're doing, that you take the time to understand whether or not a new approach, a new added action is actually going to result in what you think it might result. Take that time, try and think through it. Obviously, there will be times where you have to move fast because you want to take advantage of something, or something's new, or you have an opportunity. But in general, just be very careful and ask questions, push back, because this is how marketing campaigns, marketing projects can fall flat, is they get too big and you don't have a focus. Okay, I'll pause there. Any thoughts, any input on what I just shared? Okay, if not, we'll keep going. So what I wanted to kind of wrap up on, and I know this has been a lot in a fairly short period of time, and also not very deep. There's a lot that goes into marketing. As I said, it's highly complex. This is just a very quick overview of things to consider, things to work on. But where I wanted to end is just asking you all, what you're doing right now. So I've put up a couple of communications channels. So a communications channel is, how you communicate, where you're communicating through. I've put up a couple on here. If you will use the annotate function or chat or come off of mute and just let me know, what you're already doing, if anything, or kind of what, if you're brand new, what you think may be your first step as you start thinking about building out your marketing plan. And then we'll have a little conversation about, is what you're thinking about really the first step that you should be thinking about? Okay, see website and social media. Anyone else taking any steps or using any communications channels? Okay, so maybe you're not quite there yet. Website, social media, website so far. So, paid ads, very interesting. Paid ads are terrible. Okay. I was going to ask about paid ads because that's pretty advanced. Yes, paid ads are potentially a nightmare. They can be very effective if you, again, know your audience, and also if what channel you're going through is the right channel. And I say that having worked with, a couple of major international magazines, newspapers, you have to make sure it's the right one if you're going to put money into it, because you might not get what you think you're getting. It takes a lot of time and hand holding to get, to that good point. So definitely hear you on that. But going to, what I would suggest if you're totally new, and again, each group is going to be a little bit different. But today, if you don't have a website, you may be missing out, because a lot of people, if they have internet access, the first thing they might do if they see an ad or they see someone talking about a product or a service is do a Google search or try and find you. And if you're not on a website, or if you don't have, say, a Facebook page or some sort of social media presence, they may think that you are not legit or that you're too new to put their money or time into. So, definitely something. And again, where you're located, what you're targeting might differ. It may be that people in your geography or your community don't have ready access to the internet, and so therefore it's not as important. But if you are somewhere where people, are on their phones, they're accessing the internet, a website and social media presence are pretty key, just to show that you are legitimate and that you are a real business. So, as you're building your marketing plan, certainly, lay that foundation, know your audience, know where they're going to be looking for you or trying to do research on who you are. But consider those two pieces. If, again, if you think that's kind of where your audience will go, because it does just help you establish some credibility. And, when you do establish them, certainly make sure that you know what, how you want to talk about your organization, your product, your service, because if you just have a blank website, it may not actually be worth your time. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I think some of the other communication channels, blog posts, emails, media relations, paid ads, as you grow, as you mature, those may become things that you want to look into, but definitely website, social media are 2 key things to think about. And if you are thinking about, setting up a website and have questions, I know we've had a number of fellows talk to some of our Deloitte web developers and our Deloitte, branding team to talk about what, how you go about doing that, what to put on your website. So I will just say, the resolution team has the request form. If, ask that question, we do have volunteers who have talked to others and would probably be very happy to chat more about that specific space. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. I've been talking for quite a while. I'm very much open to questions if anyone has, a specific question they want to ask, something I haven't addressed. While you're thinking about those, go ahead and drop them in the chat, raise your hand, whatever you want to do. Just a couple of key takeaways to just leave you with. As I started off, marketing is complex. It's not a once and done. It's not simple. It's not just one thing. So if you want to do it properly, you have to put in the time to plan, to lay that foundation, and to be thoughtful. The audience piece, that's where you guys were all chiming in. Always, always, always keep your audience in mind. So know your audience, know how to target them, and everything you're doing, whether that's writing a social media post, putting together a print ad, sending a message out via WhatsApp, take a minute to make sure that you're keeping your audience in mind and that your message, you think will resonate with them. It's done in a way that is going to connect with them. Always keep them in mind, because again, otherwise you're just posting on social media for the sake of posting on social media, but you're probably not going to get, that action that you desire. You're not going to see that happen. And then finally, set measurable goals and hold yourself accountable to them. Goals are incredibly frustrating sometimes, trying to come up with them. It feels slow, but I promise you, if you do set goals and you can track them and come back to them, you'll be in a much better position when you're trying to, look at what comes next. How do we grow? How do we change our plan? Because sometimes without goals, you'll just end up falling flat and you won't be able to know how to pivot or to change or to do something else. Any questions? I know I've covered a lot. I've probably talked fast because I always do. But any questions, anything I haven't covered that you wanted to hear today, or things you want to dive into? We've got a little time left to chat through any of them.
Hey, hello. I had a question actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was really informative. But like one question I had was like, since I'm starting right now, right? I'm starting my venture right now. So
Yep.
where do I start with the marketing process? What exactly is the first step to take?
I would say your audience. So if you have well, actually, let me take a step back. I would say make sure you shore up what it is you are selling. What is your program? What is your product? What is your service? Don't start marketing till you know exactly what it is you are going to be offering out into the market. And then once you have that base is solid, start with your audience and your market research. So, who is it that I'm offering this product or service to? Who is it I'm targeting? And then also, who else, what other groups are in this space? Who else is doing this? What can I learn from them? I think that's such an important, first step, is to do that research, to get that under you when you're just starting out. And it may also help influence some of your decisions around, your program development or whatever it is that your venture is going to be doing. But definitely start with that research piece, and then you can kind of build from there, because that will help you understand what you need to do in terms of messaging, marketing tactics, all of that. Any other questions I can help with? Great. Then Aziz, I think we might be able to end early. Thank you everyone for joining us for this. I work with Resolution quite closely, so if you have any follow-up questions, please do share them. Happy to ask, answer any questions, chat with you one-on-one if it's helpful. But thank you, Aziz, for the opportunity. Really great to chat with everyone.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you very much. And it was very detailed, very insightful, and even I got to learn a lot there I found few things that even we miss, following those. I think that was very, very helpful. So on the behalf of the resolution project, on the behalf of Center for Awareness Training and Development, thank you very much for your time, for sharing all your expertise and your knowledge.
Definitely. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, so for the day we are done. We don't have anything specific other than question answers. If you have any question, any confusion, anything where you feel you need further help, maybe further support or clarity, you can ask me. I will be happy to answer. Otherwise, we are done with the day. Everything we planned, we shared those with you, and we'll be sharing more things tomorrow. But for the day, any thoughts, any questions, any confusion? Yeah, Batal, of course. Any interesting thing that you learned today and that was really exciting for you and for your enterprise that you are looking forward to work on it? So if you would like to share. Yeah, thank you, Livali, for the feedback. Okay, sure.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
Thank you for sharing. Me, what I learned from our first speaker, it was so interesting that you can organize the information you want to post on your social media in calendars, and it was
Aisha, you are breaking.
and very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking, so I'm unable to hear you clearly.
Yeah, that's what I learned.
Right. All right, thank you very much. Yes, anyone else? Joy, Kupu, Afia, Tora, anything on your side? Anything you feel, anything interesting that you learned you would like to share with us? Or if you have any question, if you would like to ask, so I'm here.
I think for me, my key takeaway would be the last bit on marketing, where you have to keep in mind that for every audience that you have, even if you have more than one audience, there will be different ways, that different marketing strategies that you have to set in mind. But also, I love the fact that she reinstated that we have to always, at every step, keep our audience in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for the feedback. Yeah. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Anything new that you learned? Okay. Dina is saying marketing is a great tool to succeed in your venture. True. However, if you do not use it wisely, the output will be very slow. Yeah, that's correct. Because everything is digitized. We are getting we're going digitized. Everything is getting digitized. So if you're not there, you will face problems. So that's correct. Any other comments, thoughts? How excited you are for what you learned today and in the last few days, that you would be able to work with your team and improve your venture? Ambrose, Samuela. Yeah, Ambrose,
Yes,
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the day. I think today has been great to me. From the first speaker, we learned a lot about scheduling, how you can even schedule your post. You may be over the week, but you can schedule your post, then it just come automatic. Then also learned about the 4 Ps. That is the product, the price, promotion, and the place. From the second P speaker. And also when you're marketing, you always put the audience in your mind, and also about what value are you going to give them. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. And tomorrow is a very important day. Because tomorrow we'll be discussing two major things, that is operational efficiency and money management, that is financial management, and then we will be talking about legal compliance. And then I'll be taking you to all the materials we have discussed. I'll be giving you access to the presentations, to the sheets, and of course we have developed a training manual. We will be sharing that with you as well tomorrow. Awesome, great. All right, so any final thoughts, question? We are done for the day, and we'll meet tomorrow. But before we leave, if you guys have any question, any confusion, anything to share, you can ask me. If not, you can tell me we are good and we can go and see each other tomorrow. Awesome. Dana, thank you. All right. Okay. Awesome. Great. Great. So thank you very much for joining us today as well. It was really exciting day. We learned a lot and we discussed a lot of things. I know there's a lot to absorb, but each and everything we discussed has a great impact on your venture. And that's the reason we wanted you to go through this learning experience. So we will learn more about how you can build your venture in a way that is sustainable, that is impactful, that is desirable, feasible, and viable. Everything we discuss is very, very important. So tomorrow is the last day. Don't miss it. We will be sharing a lot more tools tomorrow. For now, take a rest, have time, absorb it, process whatever you learned today, and let us see each other tomorrow. If Michelle is here, if you wanna share anything, you can. Otherwise, we are good to go with the day.
Thank you, Aziz. This was wonderful. And like Sarah mentioned, if you want to get in contact with anybody at Deloitte, feel free to submit a resource request form and they can help follow up on any of these topics. But again, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you, Aziz. This has been wonderful.
Of course. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. And I will see you all tomorrow. So have a great day, great evening, or great afternoon.